I am Rodney Snavely, Chair of the North Central Electric Cooperative Board of Directors. We would like to begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As Chair of the Board of Directors, I call the 88th Annual Meeting of North Central Electric Cooperative to order. Before we begin, I would like to mention a few things for everyone watching live. Questions can be asked in the chat function, but please know that we cannot respond to questions pertaining to individual members' service, bills, or accounts. We will, however, follow up the best we can with those members after the meeting. Submitted questions will be addressed following the Chair and President CEO reports as time allows. I will now call upon Justice Clifford, Chief Strategy Officer, to deliver tonight's invocation.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening for the annual meeting. If you will please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, as we gather together today, whether virtually, on the phone, or in person, we ask for your guidance and wisdom. Help us to listen attentively to one another with open minds. May we not be quick to judge or criticize, but instead seek to understand different perspectives. We pray that you will give us the wisdom to make the best decisions for the greater good. May our words and actions be guided by your love and grace. In your name we pray. Amen.
Kevin Bishop, Secretary of the Cooperative, will now submit proof of notice of the meeting.
Thank you, Rodney. First, a copy of the notice of the meeting stating the time, place, and purpose of the meeting. Also, an affidavit executed by Jeff McAllister, Managing Editor for Ohio's Electric Cooperatives, showing a copy of the notice of the meeting to each member of the cooperative that is dated May 30th, 2024. In the annual report released in the June Ohio Cooperative Living magazine, you received a copy of the minutes of the 2023 annual meeting of the members to be considered for your approval. Thanks.
The Secretary is directed to incorporate the copy of the notice of meeting together with the affidavit of mailing of the notice in the minute book of the cooperative. Our registration totals show 566 members registered. According to the Code of Regulations of the cooperative, the members attending this duly called meeting constitutes a quorum. Consequently, I now declare this annual meeting of the members of North Central Electric Cooperative Incorporated lawfully and properly convened and ready to proceed for the transaction of the business. Since the minutes were published in the Cooperative Living magazine, it has become customary to waive the reading of the minutes of the meeting and the minutes of the last meeting of the members of the cooperative. We will now ask for a motion, second, and vote to waive the reading of the minutes. To participate, please click the chat button and type your full name and township. Do I hear a motion to waive the reading and approve the minutes of the 2023 annual meeting? Please click the chat button and type in your full name and township to sponsor this motion. I have a motion from Andy from Scipio Township. To submit a second, please repeat the process and click the chat button and type your full name and township. We have a second. A poll to vote on the motion will now appear on your screen. Please select yes or no to submit your vote. According to the poll, we have a majority to approve the motion. I would now like to introduce your current board of directors whose pictures were shown at the beginning of this meeting. I am Chair Rodney Snavely from Adams Township in Seneca County, serving since 2001. Vice Chair Michael Sugar from Liberty Township in Seneca County, serving since 2016. Secretary Kevin Bishop of Chatfield Township in Crawford County, serving since 2005. Treasurer Steve Seitz from Taimakti Township in Wyandotte County, serving since 2014. Director David Green of Chatfield Township in Crawford County, serving since 2018. Director Dennis Schindler of Crane Township in Wyandotte County, serving since 1984. Director Nick Wagner of Venice Township near Attica in Seneca County, serving since 2014. Director Ron Frisch of Eden Township in Seneca County, serving since 2007. And Director Andy Brosi of Loudon Township in Seneca County, serving since 2022. At this time, I would like to introduce Attorney Brent Howard.
Thank you, Rodney. This year, the 3 races for the North Central Electric Board of Directors were uncontested. In District 1, which includes Crawford and Richland counties, the candidate is David Green. In District 2, which is Wyandotte County, Stephen Seitz is the candidate. And in District 5, which includes Clinton, Eden, and Pleasant Townships in Seneca County, Ronald Frisch is the candidate. Each candidate submitted nominating petitions bearing at least 25 signatures of members in their district. A provision in the Code of Regulations eliminated the requirement for a ballot in an uncontested election and deemed any unopposed candidate elected by the membership. Therefore, David Green, Stephen Seitz, and Ronald Frisch have been deemed elected as our directors from Districts 1, 2, and 5, respectively. All of our elected directors will serve 3-year terms on the Board of Directors. Congratulations to the elected directors.
Once again, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the 88th Annual Meeting of North Central Electric Cooperative. We appreciate your presence and engagement in this year's virtual gathering. Safety of both of our employees and our communities are a top priority for each co-op, for the co-op for each year. I'm excited to say that we saw increased interest in our live line safety demonstration in 2023. We were invited to many schools, fire departments, and community events, introducing participants to the electrical hazards and stressing the importance of staying away from fallen power lines. These line safety demonstrations are available to any community group in our service territory as schedules and time allow. If you are interested in scheduling a demonstration, give NCE a call during regular business hours. You've likely heard or read that most automakers are transitioning many of their new vehicles to electric-only models over the next 10 years. And although electric vehicles have increased in popularity, there is still a lot of uncertainty out there. North Central Electric is committed to providing education to our members, employees, and community on this topic. In 2023, we worked on putting together information and case studies on what it's like to drive EVs in rural America. As part of our EV testing, we did a deep dive into the all-electric Ford F-150 Lightning, including a long-distance trip. The video of this journey is available on our website. With the use of grants and rebate programs, the co-ops have purchased several EV models of various types at no additional charge or cost than standard combustion engines, and is recording data and experiences about each one to report back to NCE members. As we continue gathering information about driving EVs in rural America, we will share that with our members on our website, Facebook, Between the Lines e-newsletter, and the Ohio Cooperative Living magazine. If you have any questions about electric vehicles, please give the cooperative a call. Each year, I'm proud to share the ongoing success of the North Central Electric People Fund. This initiative is dedicated to offering the support our members and communities occasionally need. In 2023, thanks to the efforts of our 9 volunteer People Fund board members, we awarded 21 grants totaling over $52,000 to deserving organizations and individuals in our service territory. The small change rounded up from our bills truly impacts our communities. Thank you for all your generous contributions. Before we move on, I would like to take a moment to recognize the North Central members who serve on the People Fund Board and devote their personal time to running this effort. Rodney Gilliland, who is the chair from District 2. Jeffrey Huber, vice chair from District 7. Ron Olis, treasurer from District 1. Fran Shook, secretary from District 5. Joe Walsh from District 1. Sharon Schilling from District 2. Amy Nagel from District 3. Beth Kagi from District 4. And David Hawk from District 6. As cooperative members, we have the opportunity to participate on a national platform encouraging legislators to advocate for topics in our best interest. We can do this by participating in America's Electric Cooperatives PAC, the Political Action Committee for the nation's electric cooperatives through the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. America's Electric Cooperative PAC gives members the opportunity to raise their voices on behalf of the cooperative to state and federal government officials who make decisions that affect our way of life. It is only $25 a year, or $2.08 added to your monthly electric bill to join. The money is used to directly support candidates or incumbents who will speak for and protect the interests of electric co-ops. I encourage all NCE members to consider adding their voice to this worthy effort. Thank you to everyone who already participates in the American Electric Cooperative PAC to promote the best interests of electric co-ops around the state and country. We made significant progress in 2023 as the renovation project at the office in Attica continued moving forward. This project has been quite a journey, and we are happy to report that it has almost reached its completion. Once we receive the final okay to open the building to the public, we will be accepting rentals of the community hall for meetings and other community events. Stay tuned for news about an upcoming open house and details about when the community room can be rented. Thank you again for joining us for this year's annual meeting. Your participation in the governance of North Central Electric, your cooperative, is a huge part of what sets electric co-ops apart in the industry. On behalf of my fellow board members and the employees of NCE, it is an honor to continue to serve you for another year. At this time, we'd like to share a message from District 6 Vice Chair Michael Sugar, followed by an update from Buckeye Power.
Thank you, Rodney, and it is a pleasure to speak to all of you this evening. My time representing the North Central Electric members of District 6 has been a rewarding experience, and I am thankful to have the opportunity to serve my community and fellow members as a director since 2016 and as vice chair for the last 3 years. It has been an honor to serve on the board with so many dedicated individuals, and I want to thank them all for their continued efforts. However, I am also fortunate to have a wonderful family who is very quickly growing up, which means more and more can't miss moments in their lives. I feel it's now time for me to step down from the board and turn to the next chapter of my life and allow another member the opportunity to represent District 6. This director seat will be open in 2025, and I want to encourage members to run for the position. Director petition packets are made available to NCE members in January, and it is a great opportunity to get involved and shape the future of our co-op. In the meantime, I look forward to continuing on the board for the remainder of my term, and would like to thank you all again for the opportunity to serve you over the last 8 years.
Hi, I'm Pat O'Loughlin, President and CEO of both Ohio's Electric Cooperatives, the statewide trade association representing electric cooperatives, and Buckeye Power, the provider of electric generation and transmission services to all electric cooperatives operating in Ohio. In total, the 25 electric cooperatives we serve provide electricity to the homes and businesses of 1 million people across Ohio. We are grateful for the opportunity to provide service to your electric cooperative and appreciate the opportunity to participate in today's meeting. Today is an opportunity for you to hear firsthand from the leaders of your cooperative and get a better understanding of the issues we face today and those issues we see on the horizon that impact our ability to provide you the safe, reliable, and affordable electric service that you depend on. There are 2 big challenges Ohio's electric cooperatives face today. First, the impact of inflation on nearly every aspect of our business, and ultimately, its impact on your electric bill. Second, an aggressive federal regulatory agenda that is affecting both the reliability of the national electric power system and the cost of producing and distributing electricity across the grid from our power plants to your electric cooperative. We've all seen the effects of dramatic inflation over the past couple of years on nearly everything we buy. That's true for your electric cooperative as well. The cost of materials to build and maintain local electric systems, the cost of vehicles and equipment, higher wages for our workforce, are all contributing to increases in your electric bill. Your electric cooperative is aggressively managing costs where it can, making decisions about projects and investments to balance the need for maintaining a healthy and reliable electric system and the cost increases that go along with each investment. Your board and management are carefully considering how to best meet both your immediate needs and the longer-term needs for a healthy electric infrastructure. Our second challenge is more concerning. It's the aggressive federal regulatory agenda that we are facing, primarily driven by the US EPA and its unrealistic goal to decarbonize our economy by 2035. This is affecting the ability of all utilities to produce an adequate and reliable supply of electric generation to meet the ever-growing demand for electricity and causing significant increases in costs. The US EPA has proposed several measures over the past couple of years that are both driving up the cost of producing electricity and causing several power plant operators to shut down fossil-fueled electric generation in order to avoid costly investments that provide little, if any, environmental benefits. The premature closing of power plants without a reliable way to replace that lost power generation has weakened the electric power system and increased our risk of widespread power outages during extreme weather events. We aren't alone in our concerns with this ill-conceived regulatory agenda. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation, the entity entrusted by both the US and Canadian governments to monitor and assess the reliability of our nation's power system reliability, has the same concerns. So do most regional grid operators in the US. PJM Interconnection, the grid operator for Ohio and 12 surrounding states, has stated government policies are the greatest threat to our diminishing electric system reliability. We've already seen the costly and dangerous impacts of these policies in Texas, in California, and just last Christmas Eve in several nearby states. In the last year, I've joined other industry experts on Capitol Hill to express our concerns with the negative impacts the EPA's proposed rules would have on our nation's electric system, and on the people like you that depend on us for affordable, reliable supply of electricity. While we are making some progress with elected officials, we are still faced with a gauntlet of misguided regulations. It is essential that our elected representatives in Washington get our priorities straight. First, reliable, second, affordable, and third, as clean as possible. And we need to keep it in that order. Your electric cooperative has strongly supported these efforts to improve the policies and regulations that govern our operations. The leaders of your cooperative are looking ahead, making needed investments and improvements to be sure we're doing our part to keep our local electric system infrastructure in good shape so that we can meet your needs today and in the future. We remain committed to you, our members, and to our local communities. We hope you will continue to support our efforts to balance the demands we face and to help keep our priorities in order. Each cooperative is made up of a team of individuals that work together for your common good. And one thing has remained constant over the years for Ohio's electric cooperatives. When we face challenges, we are always more successful when we work together as a team toward our common goals. Thank you for your support and your participation in your electric cooperative.
Good evening. I'm Ed Van Hoos, the President and CEO for North Central Electric Cooperative. At this time, we would like to recognize our 2024 Children of Members Scholarship winners, whose pictures were shared at the beginning of this meeting. Hannah Chafee and Olivia Stockmaster, Seneca East graduates, earned our $3,000 scholarships. Hannah was also chosen to represent NCE at our statewide association and earned an additional $1,700 scholarship. Alexia Chevalier, a Mohawk graduate, and Andrew Matz, a Lakota graduate, earned our $2,000 scholarships. And last but not least, Addison Myers of Bellevue High School earned our $1,000 Touchstone Energy Adversity Scholarship. Congratulations to this year's winners, and I encourage any upcoming senior living on NCE lines to consider applying for these great opportunities next year. I want to take a moment to say thank you. I want to thank the board for the opportunity to continue serving the rural communities in which we live. I want to thank all of the employees of North Central Electric for everything they do day in and day out to maintain the high level of service that you, the membership, deserves. I want to thank my family, because without them and their support, I would not be able to do the things that I am able to do. And finally, a thank you to you, the membership, because again, without you, none of this matters or makes sense. I'm going to take just a moment to talk to you about a few things. You heard Pat just a moment ago talking about the EPA and what's happening there with the new rules that they have recently put out. And we've talked about how these rules are unlawful, unrealistic, and unreasonable. There's new regulations that they're trying based upon some misinterpretation of existing law that says that they can potentially shut down our baseload generation. Now, don't get me wrong, the cooperative is not against having alternative means of generation. There are times when solar, when wind, when hydro, when gas from landfills, when nuclear, all of those things make sense. But right now, at the current level of technology we see, reliability is threatened when we try to force adoption of new technologies ahead of their schedule. The new rules would force us to shutter existing generation by 2030. That's a really difficult pill to swallow. I mean, 2030 sounds like a long way off, but we're at 2024 and halfway through 2024. If you think about what it would take to install a new generation facility right now, and let's think about that in terms of nuclear. The last nuclear plant took 15 years to get up and running and came in at a price that was double what it was forecasted. In fact, slightly more than double. It was supposed to come in at $14 billion and instead came in at $30 billion when finally done. Now, there are some potentials for some small modular reactors, but again, the same challenges face those reactors and more. For instance, it's a new technology. It's promising, but it's not necessarily ready right now. And the EPA rules and the way that they're written, with their forcing of retiring plants early, it's just unrealistic on the timeline and create many, many reliability issues. Now, that's on the generation side. Transmission lines have to be built to go from where the generation sources are to our distribution network here. North Central is a distribution cooperative. We have a stake in the generation side, and we have agreements on the transmission side. What does this mean for you? Well, it means that no matter what we do on the distribution side, we are always going to be limited by what's available on the generation side, the amount of power available. And we're going to be also affected by the price of that. So if the price of wholesale power doubles between now and 2030, and given that that price is the majority of the bill that you pay every month, you can see why we say this is an unreasonable rule. We're simply moving too fast towards these technologies, and we're depending on intermittent resources that aren't widely available right now. I would urge you to, as Rodney pointed out, take part in your political action committee, the America's Electric Cooperative PAC. Through that committee, we have a unified voice in Congress to where we can go and talk about issues facing you, real issues of reliability and cost that affect all of us, in the hopes that maybe we can get some common sense passed through Congress. Now, I want to switch gears just a moment here and talk about something that was happening a couple of years ago that we saw kind of a decline in last year. And that was unscrupulous solar installers going through the territory. Now, don't get me wrong, not every solar installer follows these same practices, but we are seeing an uptick once again in some, what I would categorize, fly-by-night solar companies coming through with inflated prices that are promising you the world. Any solar provider that tells you if they install what they're going to, you're not going to have an electric bill is just not telling you the truth. Also, keep in mind that there's a cost to those types of installations. What we want to do here at North Central is be the advisor for you to help you make a good decision with regards to that. For 88 years, we've tried to be that trusted energy advisor, and we will continue to do that. North Central is not against solar. There are many cases in which it may prove beneficial. What we are against is solar installers that come in and take advantage of people and end up costing them a lot of money, making promises that they cannot fulfill, and just having contracts that are very difficult, if not impossible, to get out of. Additionally, each year, and I can see already, I receive a lot of questions about where we are with fiber internet. Anticipating that, I sat down recently with Bascom Communications General Manager Nate Brickner to discuss the exciting broadband collaboration between our two co-ops. Following a short video of our interaction, we'll begin the question and answer portion of the meeting. So please make sure you have any questions submitted at this point. We're going to start the video now. So this project came about as a result of a dual need by both companies. Our members really wanted to have better quality internet in the rural areas. So right now we're finalizing some legal agreements to make sure we're all on the same page. You know, lawyers have to get paid, that's what it is. But I think we've been working through engineering as well the whole time, and hopefully can start the build out soon. You could speak to that more on that operational side.
Yep, operational side, we've got pretty much most of the stuff ready to roll. So engineering is completing. There's just a few small parts here and there. We have a lot of the materials ordered and ready to go. We've got the plan in place, how everything is going to set up, everything's ready to go. It's just as soon as we finalize everything, we're going to run. So,
what do you think about timing on that? I know people are always asking that. They always ask me that.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to be conservative about it because we are running into some interesting permitting issues with some railroads and things like that. So we're trying to be conservative about it. We do have 7 places we cross Norfolk Southern alone, and so we're getting a little nervous about that. We think it's going to go pretty fast. So I'm shooting right now, tentatively, 18 months to get the whole ring done. That could be 6 months either way, probably, but that's what we're shooting for right now. So
Right, and just to be clear, that doesn't mean actual connectivity to a home. That's
Correct.
The middleman network that's necessary to make this whole thing work. So
we are going to, as we go along, though, we are going to hook up people as we move
Good.
through, because 1, there's a need, and 2, as we all know, the cost of everything is going up, and the cost of money is definitely very high. So if we want to try to turn around and monetize it to make sure that we are able to move on to the bigger overall picture for the 8-county area or whatever that you're touching.
Right.
We want to make sure that we're not holding on to a lot of debt there. So we're going to keep
Absolutely.
moving through. So
Great. So Nate, for us here at the Electric Cooperative, the first thing we wanted to solve was the members needed to have internet access. But there's more benefits than that. We have a communication network ourselves, which we use to do some pretty advanced stuff that electric companies can now do, including helping with putting some programs in to avoid peak times, doing some stuff with our AMI, outage management systems, being able to have access to our SCADA systems, and that's a system that enables us to And one of the ways that we can use it to backfeed from a different direction should a transmission line go down somewhere else. So we literally can take and feed people from a different substation. And now we'll have very fast connectivity to that type of network. So basically we can increase reliability to everyone across the entire North Central footprint with this product. So you just talked about being able to expand this outside of our territory, but it also opens up opportunities to expand within our territory. I mean, you have businesses right now that may be limited because they can't touch global markets. And now with this new type of internet connectivity, they will be able to do things that they never dreamed they could do before. Also, if you want to bring in any kind of economic development in an area, we know that there's some very basic things you have to have. First, you need water and sewer, and you need electric, and you need pretty high capacity electric nowadays. But you also need to have a certain level of bandwidth, and really the only way you can satisfy that is with fiber. So we're very excited to see basically another piece of that puzzle being added, so that way when we're doing these economic development activities, we can show that we have everything that a company needs to come to this area.
The other part about it too is just keeping people here. So I mean, we've had the quote unquote brain drain over the years. You know, people that graduate here, or grown up here, or whatever. They do. We have fine institutions here. We have Heidelberg, TU, others that, and great high schools and things. And then people go away to college, or they go away to get other jobs because the jobs aren't here, or they think that there's a better opportunity somewhere else. Well, if we have these kind of things, I mean, we're having people that are moving back because, as the pandemic kind of showed that, you're showing people want to be away. They don't want to be kind of all put together. They like this rural area. They like what we have to offer, but they want to make sure that they have all the things that they need to operate correctly.
Welcome back. We are now in the question and answer session, and we have one question from Jerry. What is the current planned total of electric car chargers? Right now we have a charger that's at Seneca East at their athletic area. We have two of them here at North Central. One of them will soon be a fast charger once they get the software upgrade there. Now, we're not really looking to put a bunch out there. That's not really what we're in business for, but we are receptive to other areas that may be useful for just general public and also for our own members. So if you have an idea of where to put one that would be of good use, please call the co-op and talk to one of our representatives there. Thank you.
Okay. We have another one. This one's an anonymous person, but it says, is NCE working or looking to add nuclear energy to its portfolio? So first of all, we have an all power requirements contract with Buckeye Power. That's our generation and transmission cooperative that is jointly owned by all the co-ops in the state of Ohio. So North Central doesn't have any power within its own portfolio. Buckeye has all of the power, and we jointly own that. It would be very inefficient for North Central itself to own that, and the cost would be just too great. So by sharing those costs amongst the other 24 members, or the total 24 members, we can lower the cost to each entity and therefore reap the savings. Working to add nuclear. And you heard me talk a little bit ago about what it takes to get nuclear. The reason I know that is because we have started examining what that would look like. So I don't want to mislead you and say, yep, we have a contract, we're going forward with that. But I will say all options are on the table right now, and we are looking at that as one of the options at the G&T level with Buckeye Power. I think we have some more questions that are coming over right now, so Justice bring it over, and then we'll take a look. Thank you, Justice. All right, so first one is from Edward. Good name, Edward. If there is a supply system outage, will members be notified that it's not normal that NCE would be able to fix? In other words, what if PJM itself called for rolling brownouts or blackouts, and therefore we needed to institute some kind of outages in your area? I'll give you a little history on how this has happened in other areas. When the winter storm hit Texas and they had to make a decision on doing those outages, they had 3 minutes. 3 minutes to make the decision that they did. During that time, it was not going to be possible for them to give advanced notice. We may find ourselves in a similar situation. This is why in the past I've encouraged you to look at doing some kind of self-generation, whether that be a generator or whether that be some kind of on-site battery storage, grid-attached storage, something like that, so that that way, in a moment's notice, if that were to occur and we're not able to notify you effectively in a short period of time, you would be able to still have power. Now, outages still occur anyway. We know this. We have stuff happen sometimes. We have cars hit poles and knock them down sometimes, or just in general, some other issues outside of our control can take power off. But we always try to notify people when that's happening. In this case, if it's a PJM related one, yes, we would make an effort to notify, but it's probably going to be after the fact. So that, I hope that answers your question. We probably won't be able to tell you in advance because we may not have enough warning, but we will make an effort to let you know after, and maybe even give a window based upon what we are told from PJM, the market controller in our area. This says, what areas would Bascom serve? So our agreement with Bascom right now is for a demonstration project within all of Seneca County. But they have expressed that they are looking at expanding beyond that. And you kind of heard Nate talk about that in the video. They already serve beyond that anyway, and they would really be interested in expanding past Seneca County. So we have to start somewhere. That's where it was kind of agreed we would start. But I would anticipate they're going to keep stretching that farther and farther. Another question, if we have Bascom, will it transfer to NCE? So I want to make sure we understand the difference here. So Bascom is a communications cooperative. North Central is an electric cooperative. We have not joined together and made a business that's the same business. These are separate businesses. What we are doing is sharing some resources in a collaborative effort to be able to get fiber internet to our members and also use that fiber internet for some advanced electric things that we need to be doing. So there's not a new joint membership you're going to have that you can just have one. These are still two separate companies, two wholly separate companies. We're just trying to do what's right for the membership so that way you all have good electric service, but also the highest quality internet. And then, what is the generation capacity giving anticipated needs from Eric? So, generation capacity right now for us, this is kind of a multi-tiered question. Let me answer it like this. We're a part of PJM. This is a multi-state network, right? Includes a lot of area, generation sources, transmission sources, all of that in there. We currently, with Buckeye, have enough generation capacity to meet our needs in the electric cooperatives, right? But the electric cooperatives in Ohio, as part of PJM's footprint, only represent 1% of the total. And we are all interconnected together. So what does that mean? On paper, we have enough to support our needs. But there's not a direct line that goes from those units that we have straight to your house to provide electrons that you can say that electron came from that source and is now feeding me. We're all part of a very large grid. So the total capacity needs of PJM far exceed anything that we can do. So when sources are taken offline, even in other states, it can have an unintended consequence for us here. Now, so far, PJM has better capacity than our neighbors, MISO, for instance. But we are seeing a trend, and in particular with the new rules being put in place, we are seeing a trend toward not having that capacity in the future. And that's why we're asking for members to raise their voice and participate. If you know people, we have a lot of people who are connected with political figures. Talk to them, tell them, look, my electric bill is already high. I can't afford your new rules and regulations. Let's find a common sense approach to the energy transition that they're looking for. And let's see, Eric also asked, are we worried about data centers, chip manufacturers when generation capacity is questionable? Yep, I sure am. And I think anybody would be crazy not to be. A normal sized data center takes 250 megawatts, 250 megawatts to be able to support its needs on capacity. And that capacity need is pretty constant all the way through every single day because they want it running constantly, right? If you think about what one of our large substations can support at maybe 12 megawatts, maybe if you push it, because we like to build them half size, maybe if you were to push it, you might get 15. You can see a real problem here, right? So when we start adding those types of sources to our generation needs, the capacity just simply isn't there right now. Now, I will say a lot of these data centers are looking at adding on-site generation to help offset this cost. But they're not going to be able to add enough to offset all of it. So there will be an impact on the grid. It's the same with EV deployment. We have a higher need for electrifying the transportation fleet. And at the same time, we're losing our baseload generation. This math just doesn't math. You can't add more and not have the capacity to be able to provide for it. So again, we have to get regulators and legislators to understand what seems common sense and stop making rules that make it impossible to do the things that we're being asked to do. Anything else? 2 more questions. Okay. Do you still recommend members get backup generators? What do you think, Rodney? You want to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the data center itself, that's going to add more load. The generation is not being added to complement that. So, I mean, any issues that we had this year will be a bigger problem next year and the year after that. So, yeah, it's pretty much a guarantee at some point we're going to have some outage.
Yeah, especially if these rules keep going as they are right now. The last question is, can NCE provide text messages that acknowledge outages and give restoration times? We are working on that right now. So we have a software system here that has some capability there, and we're working through that. It's a little complicated in what we have to get done, but we are actively working toward that. Okay, well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it, and I'm going to turn it back to Rodney.
Thank you. Do we have any unfinished business to come before the membership? Seeing none, do we have any new business to come before the membership? Hearing none, I now declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you for attending this year's annual meeting. Stay healthy and safe, and we hope to see you soon right here at the co-op. Thank you.